Hey Scrappy Peeps, Suzanna here today to share with you a card that I made for Cocoa Daisy. It is a shaker card that I used one of the planner free printables as well as the stamps from the main kit. I used these distressed oxide inks for the first time, and I created that background that I thought really complemented the free planner printable. The two color inks that I'm using here are Fossilized Amber, that's the yellow, and Broken China, which is the green. And I watched in another video somewhere that with these particular inks, when you want to layer them up, you want to dry the ink between layers. So you can see where I muddled the yellow and the blue, and it made a really cool green. And then I used my heat tool to just dry that off so that I could put more layers. I really liked the green, but I really wanted a little bit more blue to create that underwater look. So I just put a big puddle of blue and added a little more to that. I probably could have put more layers onto it. These are the only two inks that I have had at the time. This was an experiment, and when you have leftover ink like I did here, don't just waste it, don't wipe it up. You can use tags like that, and you'll see at the end that I made some cool bookmarks or memo tags that I just quickly decorated at the end. So that's the finished look of the base of the card there. In a minute, we're going to skip because I just cleaned up and got ready to make the shaker card. So I have some transparency here that I run through my Big Shot, and unfortunately the transparency is not cut by the Big Shot. You'll see me run it through a couple of times and just decide to use my scissors. And it wasn't the cleanest cut, but it really doesn't need to be the cleanest cut because it's going to be covered by a circle that looks like a porthole. So here's where I get my scissors and just follow the line of what would have been the cut circle. My dies are sharp, so I think it's just the nature of the transparency that I happen to have. So that right there you can see is the printable from the Cocoa Daisy planner freebies that you can download online through the shop, and I was just lining up where I wanted the circle to be. I have a magnetic platform, so I don't have to tape things down, which is really nice, and just run that through, and that is the outer border that's the same size as the outer border of the porthole that I'm about to cut. These are some really cool nesting dies from Little Bee. And so you have two circles that create the porthole, and then the inner part just puts additional little circles all the way around, and you can choose to use that or not use that. And I thought it was cool because it added to the porthole effect. And I'm going to speed this up in a minute, but this is a good amount of time poking out all the little holes of those inner circles in there. And I will, in a minute, run this through my sticker maker, because when you're sticking it down on transparency, you really want to make sure you have a good contact. So there's my sticker maker, and I'm going to run that through and then just stick it on top of the clear transparency, which will be the top layer of the shaker. So there's the sticker maker, and there's the transparency, and I just line up the outer edges on that there. And again, because I had to fussy cut, or not fussy cut, but I had to scissor cut the circle, I just wanted to clean up the edges so that you couldn't see them poking out through the edge of that circle there. And in a minute, I'm going to get my Scotch foam adhesive. I'm just going to then take my scissors and score that. Oh, I lied. I'm sorry. So I had pre-stamped these because I wasn't sure whether I was going to use a thin white cardstock or one of the heavy 110-pound weight cardstocks in the shaker. And so literally all I did was ink them and stamp them. The yellow is the distressed ink, the fossilized amber, and that red corally color is it's from Avery L, and the color is raspberry. So I did the crab in that raspberry color, and then the sea stars from the stamps in the fossilized amber. And I thought they would be fun in there as part of that underwater scene. So I sped this up. You didn't need to see me fussy cutting, but I fussy cut two of the sea stars and the crab to put in underneath. And then I'm going to get my Scotch foam, you can see there, and it's too thick for the width of that inner circle. So I just cut it in half, and then I'm going to score it, not all the way through. If you can do it all the way through, but then you'll have to put each little individual piece. And so this way, when I lay it down on the inside, you can see that it opens and gives me bendability per se to be able to go around that circle and have a finished sealed edge. I'm going to speed this next one up. I did the exact same thing that I did there. So you can see how it still stays together but is joined on the inside, which is where all the sequence is going to be. So after I get that all ready, peel off the sticky backing, and just for future reference, don't peel the sticky backing off until you have all the goodies inside. And remember that this is going to be the side that you see there that's to the backing. So what you want seen, you don't want to see as you're laying it in there. So I poured the sequence in, and the sequence is from Spiegel Mom Scraps. The planner gals were really lucky, and they got some really cool sequence from Spiegel Mom Scraps with this kit. We did not as scrapbook girls, so I used some of my own Spiegel Mom goodies. And I made sure that the sequence cup is facing out. And because I wanted a little more fun and I wanted some various size bits in there, I also did supplement this with some iridescent glitter shapes from Recollections or from Michael's that I got. And then I just stuck that onto the circle that I had pre-cut earlier in the video, which is the planner background, and made a cool underwater scenery that would look fun on this Distress Oxide ink background. And I thought it was kind of plain as it is, so I did stamp one of the sentiment backgrounds that you'll see a little bit later on in the video. When I'm making cards, I like to put the background on a base of a card, so you see the yellow base there, and I like to run that background through my giant Xyron sticker maker because it just makes one, it warps less, and two, it just makes a much firmer, sturdier surface. So there's the card base all ready to go. And I had this really cool yellow left over from the 6x6 paper piece, I think it was, in the Day in the Life kit, and decided that would make a fun little border. Just the yellow complements the yellow in the Distress Oxide background as well as the yellow of the card. So I decide a placement choice. As designers for these kits, our stamps don't have the black pattern background, so you see me trying to read what it is. What I should do when I get my stamps is stamp it all so that I can see it with much better ease. So I used the broken china that was in the background to stamp the sentiment that just says "This is the life," and then I just sort of bannered these yellow pieces, one on either side, to finish off the card. And you'll see in a minute how I turned those tags that are to the top of my workspace there into bookmarks. I just ran washi along the bottom and stamped them again with a few more of the other stamps that come in this great stamp set. And that is the end of a shaker card, as well as two either bookmarks or memo tags, whatever you decide to do with them. That is my inspiration for today. There's some close-ups to follow. I hope you enjoyed the process. Do ask questions if you have any. I'd love to help out. Take care.